Hey everyone, it's Lydia Simone, and I hope that through this video you can find some helpful information just for you. If you're interested in knowing how I got accepted to Howard University as a transfer student, stay tuned. So, if you're still here, that means you're probably interested in knowing how I got in. What was the process like as far as grades, recommendation letters, what was the process, deadlines, and everything like that. So with that, the background on me is I just got my associates from Lone Star College, and I'm 23 years old. I'm a late bloomer. For the longest, I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know if I should go into it because, a lot of people say, like, I'm into acting, I'm into everything like that, all things communications, everything like that. A lot of people said that I shouldn't do it because it doesn't make a lot of money. But then on the back end, I'm starting to think, like, I'm the one that has to live this life. So, hey, you might as well go ahead and, live it. As long as you got God with you, you good. So, basically with that, I guess we'll get into the first point. Okay, so the first thing that I had to get into was the deadlines for transfer students with getting into Howard. Our deadline is April the 1st to submit the application. But with that, you have until April the 15th, which is 2 weeks after April the 1st, to submit letters of recommendation and your academic records. So I had everything submitted by April the 1st, but I had a problem with my academic records because I was trying to get my transcript submitted over, but that was a whole nother thing. What they said to send it to, how they said to send it electronically, and what I had to do at the end of the day once I found out everything was two totally different things. Once I look it up, I'ma just submit it either on here or in the description so that some people don't have to go through that same thing. I don't know if someone had the same problem as me, if you will, but they told me to send it to one place and it was supposed to be going to a totally different place because I kept checking my application status and it kept saying that they hadn't received my academic records. So that's a whole nother thing. But so since we're talking about the application process, we'll get into where the actual application is. So if anyone is from Texas like I am, or I don't know how other states are, all other states, but with Texas, if you're applying for schools in Texas, which that's all I've done was apply to schools in Texas, we use applytexas.com. This is totally different. This is totally different, y'all, because I don't know what I was thinking when I first got ready to apply. I was going on to Apply Texas looking for Howard University. Let that sink in. Apply Texas looking for Howard. Where's Howard located? Exactly. I'm tripping. But that's that. So basically where you apply to Howard University is the app. You can either do the app or you can go online. It's called the Common App. And I always typed in the Google search Common App for transfer students. You make up a login and you search for Howard University and you add that to your application, and that's how you start the application process. So when you get into the application process, with that, what I had to do was I had to get I didn't have to have two. All I had to have was one recommendation, not two recommendation letters, but one recommendation letter. I had to have one academic or one educational recommendation, so either from a professor or someone from work. So what I did was I did both, just in case. I just wanted to just really go out there and just submit two application letters. So what I did was I emailed a few professors from Lone Star and I collected a bunch of letters of recommendations from all my professors, read over them, saw which one was the best, and I went with that one. And then I also contacted one of my former supervisors from a job that I had in the past, and he wrote me a recommendation letter. So what you do is you type in their email and it'll send off the recommendation letter request, and then they'll have to fill it out and then they'll send it, and that's that on that. Also, they're gonna ask you, of course, about your community service, all these different things. I had to write a short essay response. So with this point, it doesn't necessarily have to do with the application process and getting accepted to Howard, but it kind of does. So with that, once I really decided, like, okay, I'm gonna apply, I've always had in the back of my head, but I had in the back of my head, but I didn't say, like, at the time, it wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna apply to Howard. Once I started getting my mind prepared that, I'm gonna apply with, I got the encouragement from my mom and my cousins and stuff like that to go ahead and apply. But once I got that once I started getting that encouragement, I made a decision that I need to get my GPA up. Now, it doesn't have to be high. It doesn't have to be high. So with Howard University, the GPA requirement for transfer students is a 2.5. Yes, a 2.5. That's not hard at all. But with that, like, I was really confused because I was like, wait, why does the GPA have to be like higher like freshmen? But I guess with the GPA having to be with the GPA being lower, it's because we've actually, as transfer students, we've already experienced college. Our academic records, they consist of actual college classes, which are harder than high school. So I guess that's why. I'm not sure why. Don't take my word for it, but the GPA for transfer students is only a 2.5. So at the time I had like a 2.7. Yes, at a 2.7. So before I really started deciding that I was going to go to Howard, I was on my way to doing something like education so I can be a teacher. My family runs off of teachers. So I was like, my backup plan is teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and get into education, stuff like that. So I was not motivated really at all. So my GPA was a 2.7. So I was like, okay, I know the GPA is a 2.5, but I want to be able to aim higher. So within those few months, I started basically getting my grades ready, really focusing in, studying all of that, and I got my GPA up to a 3.1, on the edge of a 3.2. I really want to say a 3.2, but it's 3.1 on the edge of a 3.2. My goal is a 3.5 soon with the semester coming up, and the next semester after that, I want to aim higher. But my GPA is a 3.1, and that was my GPA that I had to get into Howard. So yeah. Started working with my GPA and everything like that. So that's that. So with that being said, even though the GPA is only a 2.5, what I've learned with Howard is they look at more than just your grades. They want to see if you're a well-rounded student. They want to see about your customer service, what have you done. And with that, I was able to add a good little amount. I wouldn't say I have like a ton of customer service, y'all. If y'all can tell, I worked in customer service, so I'm so used to saying community service. So with the GPA, they do want to know that you're well-rounded and that you're actually involved in the community, that you've done other things other than just go to school. Like you've actually helped or you've actually worked without pay. Hint, community service. So with me, where most of my community service has come from is my church. I'm a Christian. At the time, with most of my community service hours, I've gotten it from True Love Christian Church. We've done a lot of things in the community, like we went out and fed people for Thanksgiving. We made meals and went out and fed everybody in Haverstock. If anyone is familiar with Haverstock in Houston, we've done that. We've also done a backpack drive for the community of Humble. We've done that. We've also done things like, well, for me, I would say I've given my time in the actual church. Like on Sundays, I've done stuff like media. I've been on the media team. I did the announcements, stuff like that. I've also done things like done community service as far as giving my time in children's church. Could not think of that for anything. The children, I love the children, done things with the children, taking them to little events and stuff like that for the children. So it's little things like that. I was in another thing with my trainer. She did something in the community in 3rd Ward. It was about like health, getting to know about your health and stuff like that. I just helped prepare, passed out some pamphlets, did a little cleaning and organizing, things like that. So I did a lot of things like that, but most of it came from the church. So yeah, my church did a lot of things. So if your church does a lot of things like in the community and stuff like that, that's a really big plus. Of course, you can go to the Houston Food Bank or do, food banks. I don't know how it is in other states or anything like that, but you can go feed the homeless. You can go do this. That's another thing we did. We fed the homeless and stuff like that. So it's like different things that you can do for the community service. And so when you put that on there, they're going to ask for all of that. So you're going to put that down. They're going to ask you for the date and everything like that. You're going to put all that in there. You can kind of include that in your essay too. So that's that on that. But community service is key to go along with your GPA. Okay, so what we're going to do is do a quick recap for anyone that needs a recap. to go through it quickly. So the first thing was the deadlines for transfer students. It's April the 1st to get everything submitted. And then also you have until April the 15th to submit any academic. Oh my gosh. Y'all having business. So, okay, and so it's also, you have April the 1st to submit it, actually everything through the Common App, but you have until April the 15th if you're still trying to get in your academic records or your recommendation letters. So any of those people that are still submitted, they have until April the 15th, but I would tell them before then so they don't submit it late. Also, we talked about the application. You submit the application on the website, or you can download the app, the Common App for transfer students. You can do that. And then also we talked about the requirements within the Common App. So with the requirements, of course, you have to have your essay, talking about why you want to go to Howard, everything like that. What would you do? You know, everything like that. What inspires you? It's all within one. I didn't remember the question, but I know I talked about all of that within my essay. If I figure it out, I'll include it below. Also, with that, we talked about you need to have community service hours. If you had any honors or awards or anything like that with track, high school. I graduated about 5 years ago, so I included things from back when I was in high school. It's not bad to add anything from years ago. It's just adding on to your list so they know that all this time when they look at your transcript that goes all the way back and everything like that, they're just gonna see that you've been involved all the way since high school. So if it's been that long, it's okay. Just go back. If it was in 2016, that's okay. Include it all. They asked for the date anyway, so just go ahead and include that in there too. With that, also, we talked about the GPA. The GPA requirement at minimum is a 2.5 GPA. I got in with a 3.1 GPA. So that's that. Boom. I hope you guys got some information that you needed. If there's anything else that you need, feel free to ask. I'm all here to help. Have a good one.